Okay, let's go. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to start working back on the Lodestar right now. So where we left off is we mounted the cab. So we got all the cab mounts on, the rear mount, front mount. The only one we don't have is the one right up here because we still need to chop that out. So that's kind of what I've been working on here in the background. I didn't have the camera on because I was just taking apart the radiator that we got from the donor bus. So me and my wife, we went and took all the bolts out of it. It was in the original frame that we don't need, but I might use that bottom cross member to put into here because it drops lower. So I'm gonna hang on to that a little bit. We also got the rear sump oil pan in, so hopefully this week we can go and put that on, turn that oil pan around, and get the motor in the truck. So what we're gonna do is probably rip the interior out, because that'll be something fun that we can do with the kids and the wife. Say hi.
Say hi.
So yeah, that's what we'll do. Yep. Pair of pliers. Wire flying everywhere. So a lot of original tools in there. So we had to dig all that out. There's snow chains, tire wrenches, some tie downs for the bed, hazard markers. Yep, so we'll dig all that out. So we're digging around inside this cab here. Found some kind of cool stuff. So this big tire iron, it's got the right size. The truck came with, there was one lug nut star wrench on the bed, but it wasn't big enough for this, but this thing's a beast. Here, Maddie. What also is pretty cool is I found this yardstick. It says North Kansas City, Arkansas, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, also Idaho, for that extra measure of service. Something express. EFD Express. Yeah, that's kind of cool. New toothbrush for you. That can go in the trash. The yardstick we'll hang on to for a minute. Pretty well cleaned out. So we'll go ahead and take these bolts out and we'll start just hacking away at it. Take that side off. There's one in the front, one in the back. All right, now we can drag it out that way.
really stuck in there.
Yeah, well, I'll use a screwdriver to get it out.
This whole thing?
Yep, just grab that bar and lift up on it. Yeah. Carpet coming your way. In a minute. Probably get the shop vacuum. We can vacuum. You want to vacuum in here? Yeah. Alright, got it all cleaned out, vacuumed out. Surprisingly, in really good shape. I'd say, you know, it's not rusted through. Not that it's not rusty. The tunnel looks really good. The driver's side actually looks in better shape than the passenger side. I'm guessing because the heat vent leaking. Pretty common, but inside there looks all really good. So, on our way.
Where?
So,
Oh, I see.
yeah. Is that too long?
Oh, it's very long.
We can take the extension off. You ready about
You stuck? Ava. Ava.
Alright, next we're going to get those two hydraulic buttons here. Take those off. I think we need a wrench. Alright, we got the steering out, we got the PTO buttons out. We're going to go and take all the screws out of the dash here and try to pull this dash out. Who knows what kind of wiring is going to come with it, but I'm not really too worried about it. Here's keys and $10.
Oh, I'll take that.
got the bench bracing all cut out, so just took the plasma and just ripped all the way across there. Not using it. We're gonna run bucket seats. Still working on the dang dash. Something's holding it up, but got tired of that. So I got this out of the way. Now I can lay underneath there and see what the heck's holding it up. But if anybody's interested in a bench or the brackets to go with it, or the original international floor mat, I got some snow chains also. Just hit me up in a message if you're interested in any of this. The bench is actually in really good shape, except for one little tear right there that you could probably sew back up. The rest of it's all in really good shape. Alright, so ripped the gauge cluster out, got the whole wiring harness pretty much stripped from the firewall out. I think I got everything unhooked from the dash. Not really sure how this comes out, but other guys make it look really easy. I think we just undo the bolts here, all the screws across here, and I think it comes out. Yeah, there it is. Got a few wires. Nothing there. Vents, radio stuff. Not sure what that one goes to. I think that's a windshield wiper motor. Yep. That's hooked. Yep, so it's just windshield wiper motor, and then we're good to go. So to get this dash completely off, so it has a small little, what was that? 1/16 or 5/64 Allen on there. Undid that, took it off. Then we'll go and take that off. Because I'd like to reuse some of this stuff. Go and take that off. Put it back on. Alright, so now we can rip that dash back out. Then we got pretty much the interior. There's a shot of the interior stripped out. So pretty much the only thing left, foot pedal assembly. Got everything else. A little bit of rot in here. The vents, that's pretty common issue. We'll go and cut that out and probably just seal those up. Same thing on that side. But yeah, let's go and put the dash over in the rest of my pile of junk. All right, so it's all stripped out. What I'm gonna do is just spend a little bit of time ripping all that stuff out and cleaning it up. So I'll probably turn the camera off for that a little bit, and then when we'll turn back on, we'll go and cut the training tunnel out. All right, got a big old hole in the floor. Yep, this training tunnel looks nice, but I doubt I can use it. Time I go and throw that big ass 10-speed in there, I don't think this will even be close. So if anybody needs a training tunnel, got one. So next steps are gonna be cut the firewall out here, and then we can go and pull the cab off the frame, rearrange a few things, and go and set the DT466 down on the frame. kind of want to do that now while the weather's still halfway decent, because I'll have to have the garage doors open. My frame's just that much too long. So I got the post here, engine there, about 3 foot there. So time to go and roll it back. Yeah, we'll have to have the doors open. All right, it's the next day in the shop. Going through a little sinus stuff going on, so I'm losing my voice. So maybe in the last episode or last clips, you kind of noticed that I was kind of out of breath. Yeah, kind of going through a little bit of something. Now I lost my voice. But I got out here on Christmas Eve the next day and making a little bit of progress. So I got the cab off the hoist. Got it moved out of the way, just put it on little roller skates. And what we're gonna do is grab the motor and go and put it over here where the hoist is, and then we can lift it up and put the frame in over top. So I'm kind of doing it today because it's nice out and I can open up the doors. So that's enough of me trying to talk. I'll kind of set you up in the corner and you can watch me move the engine around, and that's probably all I'll get done today. All right, it's another day out here in the shop. We're finally getting to work on the DT466. So I got her chained up to the car lift. So I got a chain in the front right here and a chain on the back going around the tranny mounts. This one goes right in the pocket of that front mount, which works great right now, getting the oil drain, getting that oil pan off. But when we go to setting in the frame, we're gonna have to figure something else out, because I want to try to use these mounts right here that it's connected to. So we're gonna have to figure that out. But for right now, I feel really safe the way it is. So we're gonna lift it up and start working on that oil pan. I think my dad was tired of using the Allen, so what he did was just welded a nut to it. Pretty nice little setup. It worked really nice. Just used an 1 1/8" wrench. I like that. I might keep that. Oil looks nice and fresh. Looks like more like tar than it does oil, but luckily we're not using it anymore, because that shit is nasty. I think what I read on the internet, there's 32 little bolts holding on that oil pan. Once we get the oil pan off, we need to get the sump off first. Take that off, get that out of our way. And then we'll just put the new one on with just a couple bolts, no gasket, because we're gonna rebuild this motor anyway. But I need to switch it out for mock-up purposes. So that's why we're doing all this. Try and get this motor to sit down in that frame as far as we can. Being that the oil's gonna be dripping everywhere, we're gonna just take these beer boxes and just lay them down on the concrete, just to kind of catch some of that oil dripping, because I know there's gonna be a bunch. Not that I care a whole lot about the concrete, but I care a little bit. And I'm out of oil dry. So, beer box it is. George is over there digging in his cage. This side is loose. Yep. Work on the other side. Okay. That is the one thing. Not bad. I thought it was going to be way worse. Not bad. So, there is the underside of the motor. Connecting rods, bearings, they all look really good. Which they should be. This motor didn't have that many miles on it. It was a lumber truck before we had it as a grain truck. So, next we have to pull this sump off. Looks like it's bolts from the outside. Hanger there. So here's the sump tube. We need to take it off of here. Got a bolt there and a bolt there, and just a little bracket that goes right here. So we'll just take those off. Then we'll go get the new pan, turn it around, put it back up there. And then in the meantime, if we can't find a sump, a rear sump, we'll just make this one longer. Really don't want to do that because I don't know exactly the depth and everything. I don't want to get sucking up dirt from the bottom of the pan, and I don't want to cavitate not being deep enough. So we'll see what we can do. I'm sure I can find one. I just don't know if I want to pay for it. So yeah, if you can see in there, the bolt hits the balancer, but should be fine to pull it out. Alright, what size is this? Of course, not the same size. Not 16ths. There it is. Shut some some light on the situation. And it's spinning on top. What a ding dong. All right, there it is. Pickup tube off, really not much to it. Yep, connects a little weird. I'm more used to little LS ones. Pretty clean. All right, let's get the new pan and put the new pan on. Before I put it on, I want to kind of show, you know, a lot of times you can go and just take the pan and reverse it, but these DT466 have little 45s on this side. So this is the one we took off. The 45s are on the sump deep side. The one we're putting on, it's on the shallow side. Reverse mounted or correct mounted, whatever you want to do. So that's the difference between them. Why we're doing all this. Ah! Ah! Damn hoist. Keep hitting my head. That one hurt. God. Nothing pisses me off more than hitting my head on the damn things. Golly. Seeing stars. Ugh. All right, that's that. Rear sump on. You kind of see how much more room that gives us in the front. In the back, I don't really care about. Just to try to get that engine as low as we can so we don't have to cut so much out of the firewall. So this motor will just fit in there just the way it's supposed to. The next challenge we're gonna have is setting back down and getting this off. So, yep, I'm gonna clean up my mess and then we'll get to that next. So I needed a way to pick up the motor without going around that frame here. So I found some scrap laying around, welded this up. So it's just a 4x4 beam. I put 2 pieces of pipe here, welded it too so it's in the pockets, won't go anywhere, and then lift it up off this engine mount right here. So now we're good to go. It's hanging in there. It can't twist because the back chains is 2 lift points and the front's 1. So I feel really good about that. So we'll go and take that frame off, get it stripped down, and then we'll bring the truck frame in and see how far we get today. Alright, you can see I took the front motor mounts off. We're gonna end up using these. They're not in that bad of shape, at least for mock-up. And then we can go and buy new ones for final assembly. But I think this angle will work really good on that new frame. All right, we're almost in. Yeah, it needs to go there to there. But what I ran into is I couldn't go up any higher with the hoist, ran into the back cross beam. So we're gonna go and take this one out, take that one out quick, and then we can push it the rest of the way in. All right, so to get the door to close, I had to go and push it all the way forward. It's like 20 degrees outside, so I just want to get it in, get it here. Motor can kind of hang there until it's nicer. We can work on some other stuff while we're here, clean it all up. But there it is. All right, another day out here in the shop. We're back at it on the frame and trying to put the DT466 in there. So today I wanted to try to get that front mounted on there. So to fill you guys in on what I did last night, so I just went ahead and took the old big block engine brackets off that were right in this spot right here. They're just two flat plates with some holes in it. Took that out, and then I took this little steering knuckle thing off right where that gearbox is. So I took that out and put that gearbox in. So that's our original gearbox from this frame. And being that this was an RV, this actually sat 90 degrees from where it is now. So what we did was pulled the flat pitman arm that was on there that connected to that thing I just showed you. We went and mounted it this way, and then we got a C30 pitman arm. So and that will go right on the bottom, right in that home location right there. And boom, we got our steering box hooked up. So pretty simple. Sorry I didn't bring you along on that, but it was just pretty straightforward, just unbolt and bolt. So today's mission, what we're gonna do is undo this bracket right here. This is the DT466 engine mount, and we're gonna go and take this off and start mocking it up here. So up here, I wanna get it as far forward as I can with trying to mount it onto this cross member that we already have on here. It's a pretty solid cross member. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We're gonna go and unbolt that. That was a close one. I'd be cutting that bolt off. All right. So here's our front engine mount. Rubber blocks are removed. I removed those the other day. But what we're going to want to do is, it is going to go on this cross member. Like so. Actually a lot narrower than I thought it was going to be. I was hoping it would land more up here so we can go and put it more like that. That angle is, man, almost ideal, but it's just a little narrow. Like that. And that balancer will sit right over top of this and be good to go. All right, let's put the engine mounts in there and see where we land. All That's centered on that hole here. It's about as far forward as we can go. Right there. And right there. Don't hate it. The only thing I don't like is the bottom control arm is right there. Getting this nut on there is going to be fun, but hopefully we don't have to do it a bunch of times. So yeah, I say we try to mark this out. What I did was lined it up on this edge, took the bolts out. The actual mount, rubber mount, has two little key pins on each side. So I just left those in, took the bolt out, and what I'm going to do is mark there and mark there. And now I know where I land. Boom. Alright. Alright. Got bolts drilled in there. Got the mount in there. You can see they don't sit that bad on there. That'll get tightened up. That one's hard to see. But I'm willing to try that. The only thing I'm running into now is trying to get the nut on the inside. I don't have a whole lot of room because it's hitting the front side here. Made it just a little too tight to the front. But these are also flange nuts. I think if I just get some regular locking nuts without the flange, they might fit. If not, we'll have to go and maybe just cut that front section out a little bit so we can get in there better. I wouldn't mind cutting out the front section just so we can actually get a wrench in there maybe and not even have to go from the bottom. So we'll look into that. Stay tuned. Give me a minute. All right, so did some looking around. So let me show you what I found and what I'm doing here. So this flange nut wouldn't fit because it was just too close. So I did some digging on some of the bolts that I took off the truck and found one without the flange on it, and it fit right underneath there. So I'll take you underneath there and show you how tight that is to get around underneath there. I had to kind of fit my hand through this hole right here, in there, and there you can see that nut. I hope. I couldn't even go with you, but really tight in there, but that one got on there. So now what we're going to do is to go and tighten that down. And then I guess we can open up the door and shove the motor or shove the frame back and put it on there, and then we'll have to make just a tranny cross member, and then we're good to go. So yeah, let's do that. All right, we're getting really close. So let's just go this side. Here's our bracket. There's our holes right there. One thing that we are running into is our little transmission mounts are gonna hit the frame, so I'm gonna go and notch those out real quick. Should just take that off, but whatever. So here's what we did. So we just notch that so it can fall through. I do want to try to reuse these, so I think what we'll do is we'll make pockets in here that those will sit in. So cutting this out is just temporary. We'll go and box that all back in and make it strong, but we did on both sides. So now we can continue letting it down. Something's moving a little bit. All right, so gonna hit our water pump a little bit right here. All right, so we're gonna have to notch this out here too. Not a big deal. We're almost there. We got another about inch to go. So what we got is right here. We're just barely hitting 2, so we're gonna have to clearance that out. So let's get plasma back out and keep hacking away. Felt like we hit something. No. All right, we're dang close. Belt's getting away. All right, another day out here in the shop. Things might look a little different. We got the engine kind of all settled in there in the frame, and I pushed the frame outside. So now we're gonna work on the cab. We're gonna go and cut this center section out right here. So all across that radius right there, I want to go and cut out and make room for that engine. So we're gonna start small and work our way up until we have enough room to set this down. So after setting that engine in that frame, I don't really like where it's sitting. I like how it sits on that cross member, but I don't like how far back it is. And then I had to go underneath the rear cab frame. So that kind of put it in a really steep angle to the point that the PTO gearbox was only about like 12, 13 inches off the ground. I didn't really like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and cut this cab out, set it down on there, and kind of see where we're at. I want to kind of see how much room we actually have in between the radiator and the front of the motor to see how far we can actually push it forward, and kind of just get a game plan for what we got going on. This is the first time we actually have all 3 pieces this close to be putting together. So I just want to kind of just go and set it down, even though it might not be the permanent location for the engine. The cab is where it is. So yeah, follow me through that process. Oh, sorry. What we also did was took the turbo off to make room. So that turbo set pretty far back. It'll pretty much be right where the firewall is. So not where that turbo is going to go anyway. I'm going to build a whole header for it. So we just decided to take it off. 1 out of the 8 bolts didn't break, is how rusty it was. So yeah, I just kind of wrung them all off, and that's where we're at. So yeah, let's go ahead and start cutting this out. I'm going to clean up a little bit of that firewall, and then we'll just start cutting away at it. Let's go lower down and get that visor off there. I forgot that was up there. I don't want that falling on me. Stay. What a hole. Alright, not bad. Pretty narrow and a little off center because that's just how it was. We're gonna just go ahead and just see what that looks like. We can always trim more, but I don't want to trim more than I have to. So here's the piece that we cut off. Pretty good cut. I might save this. I don't know what we'll do with it, but we always do something with it. All right, so next step, we're gonna push the frame in here. So let me do a little bit of cleaning, get the plasma out of the way, and then we'll push it in here. All right, just kidding. We need to go in and cut all the way to the back for the transmission, or at least close. We're gonna cut just about all of it out. Yep, because, yeah, we need room for the transmission. Yeah, I'm gonna go back here. Ready?
Yep. I'm watching the alternator. Look.
Yep.
Yeah, you caught it.
How do you move it over? Oh yeah. Get the cutting wheel.
Well, I think it's gonna catch it. You lucky? is,
right this little lip.
I mean, fuck, it'll flop up. I suppose you gotta cut it off, you gotta cut it off.
Bring it this way, just a cut here.
What do you mean, the frame?
Yeah. We clear?
Yeah, you're
All right. We can move it back over when we go. Ready?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Hold on.
Don't go nowhere yet.
Yeah, be careful on the cab. It's just resting on those arms. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Go for it.
It's catching up on the wire on the back.
We're not going to be able to go much lower with the oil. See that clutch and the oil. Dipstick too.
This is Newscaster Alex Tojo with the Tunnel Radio for the latest updates.
Yeah, but what else are you gonna hit? What else?
Yeah, I got this.
Your firewall's gonna hit some more shit,
Great
dude.
time today, all week long for the Bloomfield Bulletin Board. We'll
I have to cut more out of it.
meetings and other activities in the Bloomfield
Yeah.
and Davis County area.
All the way to the clutch.
Flange.
Davis County
Pretty much,
Hospital
yeah.
and clinics for a better, healthier life. To view all services available or employment opportunities.
Are we wanting to raise it back up, push the frame back out then, or what do you think?
No, we'll do it just like this.
Is
Yeah.
everything all right?
Yep. I don't even think we'll go much lower. Look how much room I have from here to there. That's all I needed. So I can get my measurements, and nothing needs to be sitting like right here.
You want
So,
your lower pulley all the way out to there?
so 8 inches is all the space I need. So I can go
This
from,
tall truck.
Howdy.
I can move that up 6 inches.
Look how tall the truck is.
Howdy.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
All right, a lot to unpack on this video. You know, if you made it this far, you kind of seen quite a bit. I feel like I accomplished quite a bit on this episode. So we got the oil pan changed out. We got the motor stripped down. We got the motor mounted, even though it's not where we want it, but at least we now know how much room we have here. So in between here and where the radiator will stop with the fans, we know we can move this engine forward 8 inches. So what we'll need to do is build a new cross member and go forward, but everything else through the tranny tunnel coming down looks really good. So I'm pretty happy with all that. Coming down, the transmission will sit pretty good. So right now we're pretty far back, but when we move it forward, it'll move forward. I feel like putting that right in the right spot where we need to be. And then hopefully we can clear this rear, but if not, we'll just put the cab mounts right here on top of the frame, right on top of here, get rid of that middle one, and probably put us in better shape. Anyway, so stay tuned for the next episode. So the next episode, we're gonna go and remove the cab, put the cab back over in the corner, and then we'll go and lift this motor up, and we'll go and actually do some fab work. We're actually gonna go and make a front cross member. We'll probably make the rear tranny mounts. So I did get my tranny mounts in for the stock mount. So what's on the transmission right now is a V. So this is the rubber stop. So we'll make the bracket that actually mounts to the frame. So once we get that motor where we need to go, we can go and mount this and be done with it. So I feel really good about where we're at. And I feel like we're gonna make a lot more progress, a little bit faster progress now that we got a little bit of the stuff out of the way. Another big hurdle that I'm kind of nervous about tackling is the control arms. So I really want to get these tires spread out. So once we get the cab down, got the engine where we like it, I think that's the next step, is doing the air ride and doing the control arms. So stay tuned, stay with me. Please comment what you would like to see different in my videos. I'm kind of new at this, and all the advice would be great. So like, comment, subscribe, please. I'm trying to just, you know, kind of grow this and kind of, you know, get my project out there. I'm really enjoying building this, and I kind of want to show everybody else the project. So help me out the best you can. Thank you.